sometimes my opponent will capture my leg and attempt a single leg takedown. If he places his head to the inside of my body, I will prevent him from accomplishing his goal by driving his head away from me and pulling my leg free. Slowly. So, I block his takedown, knee, push his head away, and pull my leg free. I defend, sprawl my hips back, knee. He grabs my leg, I push his head down, and pull my leg free. A little faster now. This is another technique you can use to defend against a single leg takedown. As my opponent snatches up my lead leg, I push his head away using my left hand. This creates space between our bodies and allows me to wrap my right arm around the top of his left arm, establishing an overhook. At the same time, I circle my right foot to the outside of his left leg. Next, I grab his right elbow with my left hand. Once I accomplish all of these things, I will lift his arms upward using my arms and drive my captured foot toward the floor, breaking his grip. Once more. Opponent enters, I defend. I press on his head, establish an overhook, grab his elbow, lift his arms upward, and drive my foot toward the floor. My opponent grabs the single. I establish an overhook with my right arm, circle my right leg to the outside of his leg, then I control his elbow, pull his arms upward, and step my foot to the floor. Now I spar with my brother using the takedown defense techniques I just demonstrated.
Agora vou explicar pouquinho do quanto é importante.
In karate competition, you do not utilize the clinch.
No karatê de competição, normalmente.
However, in Machida martial arts, our karate, we train the clinch a lot. It is super important to include the clinch in your training because in a real fight where there are few rules, the clinch is very effective for closing the distance and doing damage to your opponent. So I demonstrate several clinch techniques and when they are best applied. If your goal is to strike with punches and kicks, it is best to try to maintain distance. But if you lose that distance, you've got to understand how to establish the clinch and throw knees and elbows. So I highly recommend spending some time with this section. There are many ways to control your opponent in the clinch. You can establish the Muay Thai clinch, which is where you place your elbows in your opponent's chest and cup one hand over the other behind his head. You can also change your grip by cupping your palms together. You can wrap one hand behind your opponent's head and control his far arm by cupping your hand over his biceps. If you have a collar tie and your opponent has a collar tie, you can cup your free hand over his arm for control. You can keep your one collar tie and establish an underhook with your opposite arm. And then you can remove your collar tie and place your hand on the side of your opponent's head to force him away from you. There are techniques you can do from each of these controls, so you should practice them as much as possible to get a feeling for how they work. Now I demonstrate how to throw a knee from the Muay Thai clinch. When you establish this position, you can cup your hands around the back of your opponent's neck, or you can cup them higher up on his head. When you do this, you can really pull his head downward. He doesn't have enough strength in his neck to resist the pressure you can apply with your arms. This allows you to drive a knee into his midsection. If you keep your hands clasped behind his neck, you will still have good leverage to pull his head down and land a knee. Once more, you enter and secure control of your opponent's head. You can cup around the back of his neck or higher up on his head. When you have control, drive in a knee. When you establish the Muay Thai clinch, you want to cause as much damage as possible. So now I demonstrate how to throw a sequence of knee strikes that can score you the knockout. Right after you secure your opponent's head, throw the first knee strike I demonstrated in the previous technique. Next, pull your leg back, switch the positioning of your feet, and throw a knee with your opposite leg. You can keep on going like this until your opponent manages to escape. Once more from another angle. After you establish the clinch, throw a sequence of knees. Faster. Now I demonstrate how to throw a lateral knee. It's not a technique that a lot of people use, but it is very effective. To execute this knee, I will establish head and arm control. I accomplish this by keeping my left hand hooked around the back of my opponent's neck and placing my right hand on his left biceps. Next, I will pull his head down using my left hand and lift his left arm using my right hand. This creates a clear pathway for me to land a side knee to his ribs. So, set your opponent up and then throw the knee. Now from the other side, I pull my opponent's head down and lift his left arm. This exposes his left side for the side knee.
Quando eu levanto, ele fica exposto essa região aqui. Seguro, joelhada.
A little faster.
Da pegada de clinch.
Now I will demonstrate how to use the Muay Thai clinch to off-balance your opponent. Sometimes when you establish the clinch, your opponent is very strong. Instead of trying to compete with his strength, I off-balance him using this technique. So, I step my rear leg forward and to the outside of his lead leg. Next, I circle my opposite leg around and pull on my opponent's head. Notice how this causes him to fall forward and to the side, totally destroying his base. Also notice how it causes his guard to drop. Next, I throw a knee strike to his midsection or face. Now, normal speed. From another angle, I grab him, take a step to the side, throw the knee. Other side, knee. Now a little faster. Once more slowly. Remember, where the head goes, the body will follow. So it is very important that you have good control of your opponent's head.
Mais uma vez.
A lot of times when you establish the Muay Thai clinch, your opponent will defend by placing an arm across your throat and pushing you away. When he does this, it takes away a lot of your strength.